The next live band up was called Hellstorm,
Oh,
and in my opinion, they did a pretty good job. But you could see they are still green. Give them a few more years, and they just might get to be a pretty big player if they last. So many new bands start out big, and then within their three or fourth album, they're done. I hope that isn't the case though. So, I know you don't like them, Dave.
yeah, I'm not a fan of Hailstorm. I think the music is good. I just don't think what's her face, and I love how everybody has the name Hale in the band names.
I've
Everybody
noticed that
band
too.
name Hale. That's stupid. But anyway, I don't like how the singer that chick, whatever her name is, she's not good. Nowhere near as good as Anna Murphy. I just I don't like her. I mean, she's got a good voice, but it seems like she's mixing Amy Lee and pretty much every other female vocalist that's been through the 2000s. She's mixing that style in with every R&B singer, and she's trying to mesh it up, and she's trying to sound like all. And it sounds like Hailstorm's pretty much trying to sound like all the other bands, like Evanescence and things like that have, and bands like that have female vocalists. She's trying to sound like that, and I just really wish that, I think that they would be good if they try to find their own sound. I mean, and you could still have somewhat of that sound, but do something to make it your own. And it just seems like she just doesn't do that enough. And as far as waiting for them, waiting a few more years and they'll be pretty big. I mean, they're really big right now. A lot of people love Hailstorm. I just don't see it. I don't see why. But like I said, I'm 30. I'm almost 32 years old. I'm pretty cynical. I try not to be, but I'm pretty cynical. And yeah, kids are stupid.
Well, for their third song, they were joined by David Draymond.
Draymond, yeah.
Okay, David
Dave,
Draymond
Dave Draymond of Disturbed.
from Disturbed and Device to do a cover of Led Zeppelin's Whole Lotta Love.
I really want to hear that because I'm pretty sure it's going to sound like complete shit. But, yeah, I'm sorry for the swearing, but that's just me. But the whole thing is that I actually listened to a Device song earlier today, and we was talking about the other day how it seems more like the rest of the band members of Disturbed wanted to do something that sounded a little different than the same old shit they've been doing for the past 13 years. And Dave Draymond wanted to do the exact same thing. I've changed my opinion on that. It seems to me like Dave Draymond wanted to do something. When I listened to that song "Vilify," and that sounded more like old Disturbed, like meshed with the more modern Disturbed sound. It really sounded more like old Disturbed to me, and to me, I've changed my opinion on that. I think Dave Draymond wants to try to bring back that whole old Disturbed sound instead of the just doing the same old things. And the other guys are just like, no, we're doing pretty well right now. And he was like, well, screw you guys.
Yeah, because two of his members joined a band called Fight or Flight. The next band up is a band that Dave cares nothing about. Basically, the name of the band is Five Finger Death Punch.
I'm not a fan of Five Finger Death Punch. I actually had a friend of mine, and God bless him, he is like one of the most awesome guys I have ever met and I've ever known. And he was a childhood friend of mine. He was just absolutely in love with them because they did that cover of Bad Company, and they in the music video, they put it to soldiers in Iraq and Afghanistan, and they performed a lot over in Iraq for the troops and everything. He was like, "Where they're like really pro-American and all that." I was like, "Dude, that's a gimmick. They're just trying to kiss your backside in order to get sales from troops and people who support the troops and all this stuff." I'm not a fan of them for that because it seems like what they're doing. I mean, they're not bad. I know the lead singer was part of. I believe it was the lead singer. I'm not sure, but he was part of Motor Grader, which was pretty decent band. But it's just whenever I listen to, it was just you gotta realize that here where we're at, the radio stations, whenever they started playing Five Finger Death Punch, the stations actually tried to play and cater toward the all the really white trash kids, and they actually would make fun of their own fan base, and they would play this band nonstop, and it just annoyed the crap out of me. And this was at a time when I had a job where I was driving around a lot, and I didn't have any CDs or anything like that, so I had to listen to the radio. And well, truck didn't have a CD player, so I had to listen to the radio. And whenever I cut it on, I'd hear that band come on, and it was just, oh, I was just so tired of it. I couldn't stand Five Finger Death Punch. So it was one of those things that got real popular and it was one of the bands that got real popular and real overhyped. Not saying that they're a bad band. I'm sure they're great. But whenever you're just bombarded with this band's music, you kind of really get sick of them really quick and you grow to hate them.
Well, they did some upcoming songs from their 2 albums that is coming out later this year. They were joined by Rob Halford, who was wearing a black minister suit, and they were joined by Rob Zombie for Thunderkiss 65. So they have some guests on the next 2 albums, and they do have 2 albums that are coming out later this year instead of 1 album. Usually that's the case, 1 album every couple of years, or every 2 years or 3 years. Next up was Stone Sour, who was joined by Corey Taylor and Jim Roots from Slipknot. They were alright. They did an okay job. Not really my type of music, but it was alright.
Yeah, I mean they do pretty good stuff. I mean, I like a lot of Corey Taylor stuff. Now, I will say this, that after having quite a few shots today, my wife was just completely hammered, and we had this radio station on iHeartRadio came up that her father actually told us about, and we was listening to that on the computer, and it's out of Cincinnati, and we was listening to that, and she was just chilling out and all that. She was drunk, and she heard that Stone Sour song, Through Glass, I think it's called, and she just immediately sat there and said, "I don't want to look at anyone through the glass because I'm not stupid enough to get myself put into jail," which I thought was funny.
What?
Yeah, yeah, because that's what the song is basically about. That song, Through Glass, is basically about him being in prison, and he's talking to his girlfriend and having all this, all these emotions stirring up and all these thoughts stirring up, while she's coming and visiting him, and she's sitting there on the other side of the glass talking to him and everything. That's what the song's about, is him being in prison and getting visitations from his girlfriend. And she was like, I'm not going to do anything that's going to get me in jail. That's just stupid. Which I thought was funny. It was like, yeah.
Now the next band up was called Danzig. They did a few Misfits classics, and they were joined by Misfits' own Doyle von Frankenstein. I know you know this band pretty well, Dave.
Doyle von Frankenstein, yes. Yes, the Misfits, man. They were a great punk band. They were one of the most memorable memorable shock rock punk bands around, and
But they
yeah,
split up.
yeah, they did, But actually, I've got someone down there who, I got a friend of mine who lives in Macon who actually played. Um, no, one of his friends was one of the guitarists for the Misfits for a while.
Hmm.
Um, Whenever they were going through a lot of their troubles, and yeah, he went on tour with them for a while, and then they wound up getting their old guitar player back and everything. And yeah, but that was a pretty interesting thing. It's like I know someone that was in the Misfits. That's pretty cool.
And the band of the evening arrived to close out the show. Metallica hit the stage to do a 4-song set. They were joined by Rob Halford to do a Judas Priest song called Rapid Fire. They opened up their set with Disposable Heroes, then they went to For Whom the Bell Tolls before they hit Rapid Fire with Rob Halford, and
Yeah,
then they closed out the show with Seek and Destroy.
yeah, all good songs. I especially love For Whom the Bell Tolls. It's one of my favorites. And Disposable Heroes is awesome, and Seek and Destroy is awesome. And I actually like the fact that they were sitting there really pushing a lot of the songs that didn't make them extremely popular in the mainstream. They were playing Disposable Heroes, which is an amazing song. It's awesome.
Yeah. And those were the performances. Now, some of the real surprises came by the award ceremony itself and some of the winners of Verdict Transmission.